Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Jeff Charles, Sarah Cowgill, Tim Donner, and Andrew Moran. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Growing up, May Day was Valentine's Day in springtime. I loved it. Decorating a basket stuffed with candy for that special someone in your class. When simple things were still non-political in this country and before peanut allergies changed us all. Little did we know that our freedom-loving ancestors tweaked the day to reflect America. But May Day was really created to celebrate the proletariat. May 1st or May Day is still celebrated in such places as Cuba and China, commies one and all. Okay, panel, let's discuss what you know and love about May Day. Let's start with Tim. Tim, are you you're basically the Liberty Nation historian that, so I want you to bring us up to May Day 2020, but I want to ask you, did you ever get a May Day basket from a sweetheart?
Well, I've only had one sweetheart. So the answer is no.
Nice save.
Good answer.
Jacob DeGrom.
Dave, the answer is no, however. No. I never did. But May Day is a tradition, it goes all the way back to the 1st century. It's a natural sort of festival atmosphere to celebrate the coming of spring. But there was something that happened in 1889 called the Haymarket Affair, where labor organizers set upon the police and vice versa. 7 or 8 people wound up dead, and that became the linchpin for the International Workers' Party to then declare May Day as a celebration of basically workers of the world uniting. So it got co-opted about 140 years ago by the communists because that Haymarket Affair occurred in early May of 1889. So it was clearly something that was positive, uplifting, celebrated with flowers and festivals and song. And now it's workers of the world unite.
Andrew, what do you have to say about May Day? I'm sure you celebrated heartily in the Moran home.
Well, the only thing I knew about May Day was it's an annual celebration of ignorance of economics, because this is the proletariat. They always gather to celebrate communism and advance the ideas. But back in my younger days when I used to be a reporter up here, I would cover the May Day protest or the celebrations. They marched down the street carrying pictures of Karl Marx and Joseph Stalin, saying, we need a revolution, yada yada yada. But at the same time, I always found it comical because these people are advancing communism as they're sipping on their soy lattes from Starbucks and snapping pictures with their Apple iPhones. I have this one photo I took. It was on the top. It was the cup of Starbucks, in the background, all these people marching. These people are such hypocrites. If you advance communism, you should look like you came from a Vorguta gulag, and you're really dirty, and you ate rats, like a Dostoevsky novel. So that's why I know about May Day. A bunch of.
And you need to weigh about 100 pounds.
That's right.
All right, Jeff.
They have saying in Mother Russia, May Day celebrates you. That's all I know about it. But hearing Tim go over the history,
we're gonna get
it,
censored. Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks, Jeff. Thanks.
Yeah, but here's the thing: hearing Tim go over it, how it used to be a good thing. That's just yet more proof that Marxists ruin everything. So I never really knew much about May Day. I knew that it was a communist holiday or whatnot. Never really paid much attention to it. But I mean, the history is pretty interesting.
Sarah.
All right. Well, first and foremost, if Jimmy Duncan is out there and listening, in 2nd grade, he gave me a May basket and I popped him in the eye. So my heartfelt apology.
For giving you a May basket?
What? Well, I liked Scott Starr. I didn't like Jimmy Duncan that much, and so now I got to apologize to both of them. And my mother. My mother was so embarrassed. I don't think she came out of the house.
Boy, remind me not to do anything nice for Sarah.
Did he give you the little box of
grew up.
candies with the hearts in it? That said, I love you and stuff like that?
No, that's Valentine's Day. No, I think it was cupcakes and, homemade stuff your mom stuck in there.
How about dancing around the maypole?
We didn't
remember
do
that?
much of that.
That's like,
Too much of that.
yeah,
And we avoided Chicago. We always avoided Chicago because that's where the Haymarket affair happened. And
Right.
it involved Molotov cocktails and fire and
not a whole lot of
sort of
dancing.
Antifa kind of things that we see these
not
days.
a whole lot of dancing around the maypole at the Haymarket.
No. any dancing or running was in a straight line away.
Well, I think part of the problem is that communism doesn't get the rap that it should get and it needs to get. We made some friends down in Florida, and they came over from Hungary, and these people are really anti-communist because they suffered under communism. They understand what it's really all about. It's a very damaging system.
Well, they don't teach about it in the schools anymore. They won't teach about it. Ancient history, not relevant to today. In fact, it's completely relevant.
Yeah, it is.
Because communist governments all began the way we're heading today. Same way.
I worked with
collectivism.
I agree, Tim. I agree. And I worked with a Cuban refugee in the governor's administration in Arizona, and he was as conservative and dedicated to freedom as you could get. He came over on a capsized boat, barely didn't even get here when he was 5 or 6. And that man has been promoting the freedoms of this country. And you are so dead on. Nobody gets to hear about it anymore. It's like it didn't really exist.
It's as if only the National Socialists of Hitler's Germany existed, and there was no other atrocities committed in the 20th century. And you see the communist governments today. They're abandoning their love of what's it? Stalin and Marx. Is Venezuela. They're ditching socialism because they knew they're seeing the damage of it the last few years. It's becoming a humanitarian crisis. A lot of the government-owned assets that they seize from the private sector, they're selling it back to the private sector because they want food, they want energy, they want the basics that these free market countries have. Cuba, they've changed their constitution where they don't really declare themselves to be communist. They wanted markets, but you still see the communist policies enacted, which is why they're going through a food shortage yet again. It's a different Castro, but it's still Castro policies.
China. I mean,
China. They just haven't tried it the right way yet, though.
Right.
So let's not knock it.
Right. That's that's always what the socialists will say. Oh, it's never been properly tried, never been properly applied. But if communism worked as it's supposed to work, then why would China, which was basically the largest communist country in the world after the Soviet Union, cease to exist and melted into the dustbin of history? Then how come China's entire economy is built on capitalism? Essentially, it's actually the most dangerous model of all, because they have supposed economic freedom, and there is some, with no political freedom. This is the dangerous model of China, which has taken communism and it failed, and it set them back decades, centuries. And they realized the only way to keep communism alive there was to keep calling it communism, but adopt capitalist principles. That's what China has been for the last 20, 30 years.
You see North Korea, it's one of the most famous communist states in the world. But even Kim Jong-un, he's embracing some market principles. I'll give credit to Donald Trump. He did a great job, giving Kim Jong-un the idea that you can transform Pyongyang into a major capital in East Asia. And Kim Jong-un, he personally witnessed the fruits of the West, because he studied in Switzerland. So he saw the benefits of a free market system or a market economy. So for all the troubles that North Korea is going through, at least he's made some progress in the major cities where, people have handbags, people, these expensive handbags, they have dogs, not to eat, but to have as a pet, which is a famous socialist diet. So, all these communist governments, they're failing because people are realizing that communism is a failure. Dictators who want to stay in power, they know that they have to abandon communism or socialism if they want to avoid a revolution.
Do you remember when Trump was trying to convince Kim Jong-un that he could have this fabulous beachfront resort? And of course, it would probably be built by Trump after.
No, they had a video.
You've got beautiful, beautiful beachfront property. It's a beautiful thing. Hey, Kim, you can make billions with this.
Well,
it apparently didn't work, but I bet it put a lot of thoughts in its mind.
Well,
Mayday.
As May Day approaches, labor is treasured in this country, and the communism and what it celebrates not so much. So enjoy the freedom and liberty that comes with a traditional American May Day. Thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, we're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in and to subscribing to the MemberZone. This has been a production of LibertyNationNews.com, conservative news where truth matters.